Good morning, evening, or afternoon. You're listening to Brownsville Matters, KXIQ 105.1's podcast show, where you learn a little bit about everything from all walks of life on the border by the sea. Our next guest is heavily involved in the local creative community and leads a very specific organization that not only empowers local artists, but allows like-minded people from other regions of the country, perhaps even the world, we'll see, to learn from the creative minds here in Brownsville so they could take some of those lessons back home. Jesus Trevino, welcome to Brownsville Matters.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Okay, this question may be a little bit outdated by the time this show airs, but I asked it to Ceci, and now I want to ask it to you.
Okay, I'm nervous now.
So let's pretend that you were indeed the winner of the 78 million Gordon's Bait and Tackle lottery jackpot.
Oh, gosh.
Do you remember that?
No.
Oh, well, we got a lottery jackpot winning ticket not
Here.
too long ago
Okay.
from Gordon's Bait and Tackle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
of all places.
Damn. Okay. Where
So-
are they?
Yeah, so let's
Do
pretend.
they support the arts?
Yeah. That's a good question. Yeah, we still don't quite know who they are
Okay.
or if they claimed it. But let's suppose that you won the 78 million, but there is a condition. You must use it for artistic reasons in Brownsville.
Oh, damn.
What would you use that money for?
Damn, that's tough. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind, honestly, is maybe, well, I think when we need a museum, right?
Yes.
My head goes to Biddy Truan's collection of her in her house, and like maybe somehow, and that's kind of in the outskirts.
Mhm.
Do you know Biddy?
No.
She's the wife of George Truan, who was a faculty at UTB or TSC for a long time, and is the professor of all of the professors that came after, Carlos Gomez, all them. And I think he started a collection, and then slowly after he's passed away, Biddy's been amassing just a huge amount of work that is literally the history of Brownsville in her house.
Oh.
And so it's like, I don't know, I feel like collecting the history of Brownsville through art and putting it in a collection or an institution like that will then have cycled shows, I think would be something worth investing in.
For sure.
But beyond that, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's just something that I've thought about, and so it came up immediately. So that's
Yeah, and when you say the history of Brownsville, what would someone expect to see throughout the collection?
I mean, the dialogue and conversations that have happened in the last few decades
I see.
of just things that are happening that are pertinent, politically and socially in the region, but also just like aesthetics through the eras and how those things have changed and informed each other and responded to each other and reacted and taken tangents. Like there's just like I guess like visually, if that's what you're asking, I mean, I think a good indicators maybe in this room, like just a lot of varied iconography
Yes.
and histories through paint, right? Yeah, I don't know. I just I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
So to the listeners, we were actually surrounded by, I want to say, a good 24, 25 canvases, most of which are influenced by Mexican and Mexican-American culture. So it sounds like a good chunk of that collection also has similar themes, is what I'm hearing.
For sure. And if I could think spans potentially more decades too, like way like further back and then way more recent. And so it's just like it's years and years and years of of people thinking about this subject of of place and identity and our relationship to it and the aesthetics around it. And I think it's I think that's worth highlighting and investing in through an institution or maybe a book or like a collection in that way would be really sick.
Wonderful. So you mentioned location, identity. Let's talk about your origin story. Jesus, how'd you grow up? Where'd you grow up? Are you from Brownsville, from elsewhere? How does Brownsville come into the picture? What was your origin story like?
My origin story? Well, I was born in San Antonio. I was born.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was actually born in San Antonio while my dad was going to school there.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, my dad and my mom were living, there. My mom was working while he was going to school, and very quickly after that, my mom moved back here in Brownsville, and so I didn't last more than a year or two or something in San Antonio. So I grew up here. I do feel like Brownsville is my hometown.
Yes.
I don't remember living in San Antonio at all, but I have I think a strong connection with it. But now that I've reformed, but I grew up here, went to Benavides Elementary, Egley Elementary actually, and then Benavides.
Yes.
Went to Stell, went to Hanau, went to undergrad here before leaving. So my mom actually worked at UTB-TSC as I was growing up. And so I spent so much time at the university. So I almost feel like the university is my home a little bit. Like I was a kid in Charo Days dancing on the amphitheater there at TSC for Charo Days. And, I'd run around Tandy Hall as a kid and play in the security monitors and stuff. And so I don't know. I have a deep affinity or a deep appreciation for, one, that the school and that region and that area, but also I think it took me a bit to kind of come to, I guess, reckon with my relationship with it. Because, I mean, I think all that was tied to, my mom and my experience growing up with her and all that. But it wasn't until moving to Austin where I kind of got that perspective, was able to step back and, like, really, like, focus in or hone in on, like, who I am and what made me this way and what is my relationship to that place and why do I miss it? And why is that so different from here? I'd never been outside of here. And so that led me on a deeper path of, like, kind of discovering my personal histories, familial histories, and trying to use art as a way to sort of, artifacts of that investigation or that discovery. And so my dad, he and his family, side of the family, is from Matamoros, obviously, and my mom too, my mom's side. But my grad school studies was all about kind of rediscovering that history of going to Matamoros and going to these ranches, the ancestral home or whatever, and
like El Soliseño, La Burrita, and all those. Or?
It's like La Carrera and El Gomeño, and it's past like Refugio. It's like going towards Playa Bagdad. Like it's going that way. It's like on the river. It's like in that area.
Very cool. And
so just revisiting those spots that I'd been to a bunch as a kid, but never really appreciated it. I had this story that I made into a corrido when I was in grad school.
That's amazing.
Was that one of the last times I went there, as I remembered it. I've since found out it's kind of a false memory, and I kind of, anyway. I went and I was playing races with a cousin. We were visiting a family friend. His name was Cotono or something, like Carlos Antonio Cotonio or something. Cotonio.
Okay.
And I was playing races with a cousin, and like I didn't wear my glasses at the time. Like I just thought I looked goofy or something and looked silly, and so I refused to wear them, which was a metaphor in this corrido that I made where I was refusing to look back and see what was right in front of me, the familial tree that I didn't see had a wire on it. And so I ran and I clotheslined myself and I almost lost an eye. Over here I have a scar. Which is a curse on my mom's side of the family, losing eyes. But just the idea that, I was kind of running through life blindly without acknowledging what was in front of me or around me, and like almost paying the price and almost feeling like it's too late. I don't have, that deep of a relationship with, my extended family or the language. Really, I can't, put together a conversation, with my grandparents in Spanish, that. And so there's a lot of guilt and shame and all these things attached to it. And so, having that time and away from here to really reflect on my experience with that perspective was
where your family's from
was super important. Yeah. And I think led to a lot of things that happened since coming back. So I don't know. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, I whenever I look through historical books, documents about the region, I keep hearing places like that on the other side of the river, El Soliseño, La Burrita. And quite a few people in Brownsville can trace their ancestry to those particular regions. So I am very happy to hear that you know exactly where your family is from.
That's thanks to my dad, again, like, just rebuilding a relationship and talking about these, histories that aren't like super, because, my mom and dad were both surviving, they're just, they're working and doing the things they're not exactly telling these stories because, they're focused on making a living and doing these things and growing up themselves. They were very young when they had me. So finally, like, getting this opportunity or affording kind of the privilege of being able to have that conversation where they are telling me these histories and we can finally settle a little bit and talk about them and try to reflect on them was, I don't know, I felt lucky and special to have that. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Where throughout the course of your life does art come into the picture? That no pun intended.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's always been there for sure.
Yes.
I've always I think of every creative thing that, my mom has done, it like home decorating, watching those type of things. She loved clothes, like putting together an outfit. I feel like there was always like a creative play in that kind of thing. My dad would always make videos. He always had a camcorder and he was a big sports guy. Me and my whole family, my mom and him and me were all played sports. We're student athletes or whatever. And so, I don't know, my dad always had a camcorder where he was recording like me, and we would talk about like the creative choices making on the flag football field or something like that. And I always enjoyed that, like kind of doing an unconventional move that threw someone off the structure of the play or whatever. And then to extend it, we would make little skits, this was like pre-YouTube. It was with like a CD little camcorder thing. I'm 30 like you, by the way. So I'm not super old or anything, but like, it was still pre-YouTube and didn't feel like super common. But my dad lost his dad kind of young, and I felt like his response to that was to document. And because I don't know if there was a lot of photos, because I don't know if I saw a lot of photos, but he took a lot of video, and I loved looking back at them and seeing the weird cuts, because they were all like, there was no editing. It was just he would pause and then a new scene would come up, and there's some weird juxtapositions and weird crazy things that would happen that like really inspired me, honestly.
Right.
I also had an uncle who was actually a really great artist. But it was always something that felt unobtainable, something that I was mystified by and I could not access or understand. Like I'd always go to like, museums for my birthday, like go to Houston to the Fine Arts Museum or Dallas, or try to go to the different ones to see, because I was, again, interested, but like it wasn't something that I could do or touch. I have this vivid memory of trying to like paint a tree on top of a doghouse. And I was like, I got these acrylic paints and I like really put a lot of water on it, and I had this like loose leaf piece of paper, and I was trying to draw the tree, and it's like dissolving in my hands because it's too saturated, and just like, realizing like, I can't do this, like I can't be an artist or whatever, and it's really disheartening. So but again, it's something that I wanted and I couldn't do, or I felt like I couldn't do, or I imagined that. And it wasn't until going to high school where I met my professor, Noel Palmarez, who's or my teacher, who was then my professor at UTRGV. And he really kind of demystified art making and made it fun and accessible, and like, it isn't as precious and as intense as I thought it to be. Like, this is something I could do, and it is fun, and it's okay. Like, he gave me permission to do the things and fail and try and encourage me. And so he built a lot of confidence, where I had confidence in other things that I would do, but not art, obviously. And so I think that led me, meeting him and his encouragement led me down a path to then always kind of have it in the back, and until I finally committed when I was in college to go for that degree, because any avenue I would take, I thought it would be it'd be difficult no matter what choice I made. And so like, I might as well do the thing that obviously was gonna feel fulfilling, or the thing I couldn't stop thinking about. So I pursued an art degree, and I met David Ransom, who broke down and quantified painting to a science. And so after I took a class with that guy, I felt like I could paint anything. But then soon after that, going back to UTB, transferring from the college to the university, I realized I didn't exactly know still what it meant to make art, what that meant for me. I felt like I could paint everything and anything, but I didn't know, what the possibilities of paint and what that afforded me. And so, going back to UTRGV led me to, I opened my eyes a little bit to it, and then again, finding my voice and focusing in grad school. And so I've just been, it's a slow progress of finding out what art means for me, and constantly breaking that down and reinventing and trying new things, and then somehow coming back to it. And I think that's always going to be the case for me. So of making a breakthrough and something cool happening, and then it feeling wrong, and I've changed and my tastes have changed, and so the work is has to change too. And so I don't know what I'm saying anymore, but it's just
it's great.
Yeah. So it's a long, arduous, and sometimes frustrating relationship with art. But I feel pretty obsessive, and I can get kind of like too into it. Like it'll consume everything that I think about, and but to the point where it like makes me immobile a little bit. Like I've been painting recently, but before that, paint stopped making sense for me for like a year, and I was only drawing and making sculpture, and now I'm like, and I kind of lost the love because I love to paint. So yeah, just going back to it, and yeah, I'm actually gonna have a show in January at STC, the Weslaco Mid-Valley campus.
Oh, that's amazing.
In the library. It's cool little like hallway space with like cool arches that cover windows, and I've been amassing some work that I'm gonna put in there as a entry point to this new series. I think I capped off my last series of work, which is kind of these fading figures that were based on my thesis and grad studies of going to the ranch. La Carrera Fading in the Sun, that was at IMAS, and then another one in Laredo. And so this is like, okay, it's totally, I want to think it's super new and totally different from what I was doing visually for sure, and tonally, but I think a lot of the themes and the stuff I'm thinking about is just a continuation of what I've always been thinking about, and just slightly changed as I've changed. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, there was a time, Jesus, where I would walk around the Palm Boulevard, downtown Brownsville area, and I remember seeing the building where you're at right now have that a realtor sign in front of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
With the Jefferson?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So where and how does the Flower Shop residency program come in the picture of your life?
Again, through my dad. My dad, he's been involved with downtown history and into that history for a long time, and revitalizing and all that sort of stuff. He loves Brownsville history and wanted a house to live in that had some history. So that was his house. That was actually his house.
Yeah. Oh, I had no idea.
He lived there for a bit. I think it took like 2 years for him to like make adjustments so that it's livable or something. I don't really know. He made some changes before he lived there for 3 years. But then he kind of got sick a little bit, and it was harder to maintain. And so he was kind of gonna either sell it or do something else and get a different house. And so I kind of put my hat on the table and I was like, hey, can I try to do something with the space? I was kind of using it because I was like working towards a solo show, and I was just using kind of one of the bedrooms to paint in there. And I just thought, this is perfect. And I had just done a lot of, I had finished grad school, and I spent the next like year going to different residencies, different types of different like levels. And I just fell in love with that experience and those places. And I thought, why doesn't Brownsville have this? And so just everything kind of like came together where I knew, my dad does taxes, so he knows how to do paperwork. And so I'm so lucky that, I feel like, and my mom, when she worked at the university, she worked at financial aid office. So there's a lot of things that made this very easy for me. Obviously, it's through the privileges and the luck that I have from my family that have laid down that path that I'm able to try and these things and continue. But so that's how it happened. I had that idea to like, this would be a perfect residency spot. I think it'd be so cool. It's such a weird house with a lot of history, and it's near downtown, near Midi with the Fine Arts Museum at the time. And it was perfect. And so, it was just conversations with my dad of how I can do this. And a lot of advice from Josue Ramirez from Trucha and Nancy Guevara from from various things, artists. And
She's very involved.
Nuestra Delta Mágica and all the, like, just advice on how to go about this and how to do this stuff. And I don't know. I just, it was that summer where I was like, okay, well, we just gotta do it, I guess. Like, if I was told like maybe the best avenue would be to do like kind of seed funding. Ducha gave some seed funding for that first residency, so I said that. But what's that called? Where there's a nonprofit and they're giving you money. They're helping the program.
Oh, you're talking about a fiscal sponsorship.
A fiscal sponsorship,
yes.
And that was the way to do it. And so just like trying to find, a fiscal sponsor was just like, okay, this is impossible. I don't know what I'm doing or how to do this. And so it just, after a conversation with my dad, he's just like, you make the thing yourself and you go out and try to do that work and you figure it out on the go. And so I've been trying to figure it out on the go since then. But we just started that nonprofit that summer, kind of did all the paperwork to make that building like commercial or public space downstairs and a private space upstairs, and just slowly kind of terraformed it into sort of residency space, studio space with bedrooms upstairs, two bathrooms and kitchen, laundry, and it had everything already. So it was just kind of changing the codes or changing the paperwork around it, and then just inviting people, just trying to do it. I had some advice and some thoughts from people I'd met at different residencies, like the directors there, and it was just the same stuff where it's just like you know what you're doing. Just like invite people, and you're a person. You're providing space for other people to make work and to inform each other and be in community and let people in on that conversation that are in the community. And so, I think it started off as sort of idea to incubate. Like I took the model from Art Pace in San Antonio, which they have one international artist, one national artist, one Texas artist, and one San Antonio artist.
Oh my gosh.
Always, right? And they're put together to have these conversations and make their work and have a big show, right? Each of them kind of are in their individual spaces, but still that sentiment of having these people from different parts of the world together and doing the thing is kind of what the model was meant to be, and still kind of trying to be, but it varies, where there's always kind of a Brownsville artist, there's always a Valley artist, and there's always a Texas artist, and try to do a national thing. So it's evolved the kind of program to being like divided. We're trying new things this time around. But so now there's kind of a visiting artist program, which was a thing that was in grad school that was really important to me. A lot of like the best studio visits and conversations that I had that really changed me and got me thinking about things were from the visiting artists. And so like, I felt like us not having that was like, oh man, we're not, I don't know. We need this. I just felt it was important. So like being the visiting artist for the university was kind of like the idea for that. So we're inviting artists to come, make their work so that the community can come and make those connections and look at their work and be inspired or whatever, and have those conversations. And that could lead, and it has led to different shows for them in different places. And then there's also kind of the local residency dedicated to the artists here. And that's more of a kind of professional development oriented. We'll have like a workshop where we look at their texts and try to get them ready for other opportunities that are out there for artists, and make them aware of them as well. And I forgot. I just went on. I just kept rambling on.
That's great. This is great. No, and it really shows how much work you put into it. how it came into being. Where do the artists at the Flower Shop Residency come from?
I mean, all places. I think we've had someone from Detroit, someone from Sacramento. We've been wanting an international resident or someone from Mexico City that was supposed to be here, but they couldn't. It ended up being like they couldn't get their visa, and trying to like figure that stuff out has been interesting. And I think, I don't know if this is something to talk about, but the workaround is that because the issue was like we thought we were giving stipends, and because of that complicated kind of the visa issues and stuff like that. But in actuality, instead of a stipend, it's actually a reimbursement. And so if it's a reimbursement of expenses, that makes it less complicated, I'm hearing, or it's just stuff like that. So
you're absolutely right. You were absolutely right.
And so I think that's going to allow for international artists to come through and spend time here and make their work, and all that sort of stuff, which again we're hoping for. Is just trying to figure out the logistics of that has been like puzzling. But I think we've had a lot of artists from obviously the Valley in Brownsville. The majority of them have been, but I'm trying to think of. We had 2 Brooklyn artists.
Wow.
That Sacramento artist is now based in Chicago. We've had people move to Texas after our residency.
That's amazing.
Stuff like that. But we haven't had many. I mean, we've only had really it's been only 3 years. So it was like 3 residencies and then like 2 local residencies, like specific local residencies. And so we're still, in my head, early stages, even though we're entering the 3rd year. We're going to have another one this February, and we're making selections this weekend. So we're still kind of in the process of who knows who's going to come through.
How many people apply per cycle? And I guess my biggest question is, why do they choose Brownsville?
It's a good question. Because I don't know if it is like, okay, so part of the questioning on the application, like there's like, is basically that, why Brownsville? Like, what are you going to propose here? How are you going to activate the community? Like, what is it? What's your goal here?
Right.
And there've been a lot of like responses to that, being that they're interested in Brownsville and wanting to discover and how it relates to their own, their own relationship with their identity and their place and that stuff. I think majority of residents have been Hispanic, and so like I think they find out about the residency through word of mouth, mostly, and so because of that, they're always somewhat related to people that are in this region, or like they follow someone from this area, and so I don't think it's ever. I mean, we haven't, not yet, or I don't know. There hasn't been like a resident who like is specifically like wanting to go to Starbase, like that kind of stuff, or like seeing what's happening with like camps in Matamoros, or like things like that. But I know that's for sure in the periphery of people's minds when they think of this area and their research. But I don't know. It's never been a focus of conversation or focus of proposal, and I don't think that's like necessarily a goal of the residency to like.
I see.
So, but I don't know. Like we just haven't had someone that want to do that. So, I don't know if everybody who's come through the residency though. Because I was about to say, I don't know if anybody is like specifically interested in Brownsville or really knows anything about it or wants to like is invested. They just like kind of know some of the artists and they know it's on the border, and that's like it's very vague, and maybe they've heard of it just through this opportunity, or like they kind of heard a thing like, oh, that's there, that kind of stuff. Somebody was like, wait, It's but after like attending the residency, like universally everybody has loved Brownsville. Everyone's like come around to like feeling like this place is amazing and has a lot of history that has collapsed on each other and like is layered over each other in a way that is still visible and still present. I wouldn't say, yeah. And so like, I don't know, again, people have moved to Texas. People like want to stay. People are applying to jobs here, that kind of stuff. It's like, it is really impactful because it's beautiful. I mean, we're in Romeo, who's a professor at ETRG, always says it's like a semi paradise. Like we're in paradise. There's a beach here. There's so much happening here, and like people don't know. And that was part of the objective, right? When like starting this, I think there was a couple things. Sorry if I can like backtrack to this. That maybe want to start the residency. One is there was a space, and so I was like, oh, we got to do something with the space. But it was so I had a studio visit with a curator from an institution in Texas that like they went to different parts of Texas to visit these artists and visit their studios and stuff, but they didn't want to come to Brownsville. They didn't want to come all the way down here, or they didn't feel comfortable potentially with what it meant to come down to the border or something. And like stuff like that really irks me. And so I think the main objective for sure is like getting artists together and breaking those bubbles and making connections within each other. But it's also like about Brownsville, and it's sort of a way to celebrate and show the artists here, but also show outside artists and outside people because they're going to share, you know, part of the agreement is that they're sharing about this place, or part of, you know, just the experience is that they come and like they love it and they share it with people, and so people know that Brownsville's amazing and it's beautiful and it's not what you think. It's like, you know, it's not, you know, what's sensationalized, right? And so giving real lived experience in this place, I think opens a lot of eyes, and I think a lot of people have had really, I don't know, profound things to say. And I've been trying to collect text for like a zine for a long time, but it's just I'm just juggling a lot, so a lot of things kind of fall through the cracks. But I think a lot of the residents have had a lot of meaningful experiences here, and that's a point of pride. But it's not me, it's the city. Like it's not us, it's not me and Ceci or like even the experience. It's just being here. That's like the main thing. The whole residency thing is that, you know, they're here for 5 weeks. They're living and working together. They're building lasting relationships. They're making their work and maybe inviting new point of views from our community, from you know, amongst each other, and that's important. But it's like we take a lot of visits. We go to the island, and we go to the Fine Arts Museum, and we go downtown, and we go to all these places, to the parks, and we see everything. And I think that experience is the most important part of I don't know, the residency. Maybe it's a bit of both. I don't know. I'm just like kind of losing what I was trying to say here, but
no, you're doing great.
But it was
let me tell you, I recently experienced going to a place that does have its connotation or stereotype, right?
Yeah.
Recently, I took a very big road trip across the Deep South, specifically to visit independent bookstores in underserved communities that are thriving.
Wow.
And well, I had to do plenty of research because we got neighbors at the mall.
Right.
And I wanted to know what made them so great in order to apply those over at Buho in downtown Brownsville. A part of it required me to visit Mississippi.
Cool.
Yes. And well, because of its history and because of statistics, it does have certain stereotypes attached to it.
Yeah.
Jesus, Mississippi is gorgeous.
Yeah.
The people are wonderful.
That's so great.
And they're very curious to learn about what life is like in Brownsville.
Interesting.
No, like honestly, some of the best conversations I've had this year were from that particular trip.
Right.
Yeah. So, but it's very similar to what you're saying, how people, they may have this idea about us, but it's not until they come here, they talk with us and they realize, no, it's not what the news is saying at all. People here are wonderful. The food's amazing.
Yeah. And it's just, it's again, it's beautiful. Like the architecture, like everything about the city is so beautiful.
Yeah.
But that's not what's seen, right? And so it's an opportunity to highlight all the good that the city has to offer. I think it's funny because like I also went on a trip recently, I went through the other direction. I went through El Paso to Albuquerque, all the way to Salt Lake City to Las Vegas.
Wow.
I went all those parts. I went to all the San Diego, Los Angeles, Phoenix, all the way back. So I saw the world that I hadn't seen before.
Yes.
And similar like experience of just meeting so many cool people.
Right.
I was like, I don't know. I go to Salt Lake City in Utah, and I have a specific there's something in mind, you know, and just like always surprised by how amazing people in general are. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just meeting anybody and having an amazing story, and just exchanging those experiences and growing, even if it's like very implicitly like just growing a little bit or seeing something slightly different or the air is slightly different just through a conversation is like, I don't know, some of the things that I'm chasing now. And I think that's the cool things about Residency. There's a dedicated time and space to get together and, you know, change the air. So,
Yes. I also have to thank you for including the bookstore as part of the downtown Brownsville tour.
I mean, I love Buho. I love being in there. It's such a cool vibe. I love the Scooby-Doo. I just saw the Scooby-Doo the with the knight armor and stuff. It has a Scooby-Doo aesthetic. I don't know. I just saw the Knives Out movie, and I was thinking about Buho the whole time. There's this writer in the store. Have you watched it? The Wake Up Dead Man.
No, I saw the first one though.
Okay, you should see this third one. It's actually really beautiful. I think it's better, but it's a little slower. It's a little darker, but so good. It's kind of Scooby-Doo characters placed into this darker, dreary world. Anyway, there's this writer in there who has this like moat and fortress thing with like a knight armor, and I was just like, oh, this is this whole aesthetic of this movie is so Buho coded. Anyway, I love going in there, and I think everyone always enjoys it because it has like a very unique and special feel. So it's cool to see it grow and do its thing. So
yeah. And I feel like you just like Buho, like we're here to provide something much needed to the community. You do it to allow artists to stay here, to learn from the community, and to take those back home, and then similarly for them to come here and for the local artists to learn from them. So I feel like it's an artistic exchange of ideas. For sure, an exchange of ideas. No, you're right. That is what it is. And it always accumulates into like a pop-up show, and that is like, again, like I feel like art and art making they're artifacts of living life. You know, you're living life and you're making things, and those are kind of just, it's the residue of living, I think is a cool phrase. And so being able to kind of display that and open up the conversation that to everyone to see in that physical way is I don't know. It's a cool opportunity. I think we need more art shows. I think we need more art in the city, and not having that right now is, it's kind of unfortunate. What was a time, Jesus, where you felt legitimately proud of your work, of your position as in the flower shop? When were you most proud?
Most proud? Ooh, I don't know. I mean, every time there's a show, it feels like, I don't know. There was a resident that like calls me mama or like mother. Like I'm like a motherly presence, but I feel like such pride in them, or like in the accomplishments of these residencies and the conversations that they have. And again, like just the manifestations of it have been so like you never know what you're going to get. Like, I don't know, there could, in my head, like I'm always worried like, oh, this isn't going to turn out the way, or I don't know what's going to happen. You just don't know. And so there's a worry. And so like it always ending up really beautiful, and the work being amazing, and the people being, you don't know who's going to walk in through the door. So like everyone, again, being surprised by how amazing people are. I think, it's always the show, like where it's finally like at the end of it, we're seeing everybody and everyone's friends, everyone knows each other, and you know, before going off, and people in the community, artists who come down and have met them, still connect and talk. Like it's like, it's all that. I think that's where like I feel like the pride, or like like the glow of like, oh, this is important. This is worth, the effort that sometimes, there's a question because, there's, I kind of juggle a lot, and sometimes it feels like, oh my God, it's so taxing. And like, I don't know if the doubt, there's always a doubt because of just time and the weight of everything. And so, it's always worth it when a show happens. So it's always worth it when a nice, like when you see people being friends. I think, okay, I will say the most, it was the Brick by Brick show at the Fine Arts Museum, because it was kind of like the capstone of like the first 2 years or something, and it had everybody together in one space. And so, there was like a panel that happened, and just seeing all the cohorts together, being friends in the same space, and like having the same conversations and reflecting on their experience and their relationship. It was just like, this is it. And then this is the reason. I can't believe this happened. And it was just, through the, like, again, like through everyone who's helped out, my parents, and through Ceci, Josie's, Sam Rawls, all the fellows who kind of like, Jesse Burciaga and Leslie Barrientos, who helped kind of shape the aesthetic, like all these like ideas that went through different iterations and through people, and just doing it. Like, I don't know. Just seeing an idea turn into the Brick by Brick show was just like, wow, I don't know. It was really special.
Nice.
It all came together.
And then just to give our listeners an example of one of the things that has come out of it that I was witness to. One of your residents actually did a workshop at the bookstore. And the name sounds unusual, but once I expand on it, it'll make a little bit more sense. The workshop was titled "Poetry is Trash," but the whole point of it was for us to embrace the fact that when we just write something out for the first time, it's not going to be pretty. But it's through us like really reflecting on it and then polishing it where it could turn into something meaningful, especially if we embrace our own authenticity. And it may not be Emily Dickinson, it may not be Yeats, it may not be, but it is us.
Yeah,
it is us. And then on top of that, what she did, she put a whole bunch of items from like from a waste bin on a big table, and encouraged all the participants to assemble something with that trash and then to write about it. Right. Literally, poetry is trash in so many ways in that workshop.
But I learned so much from that workshop.
Yes.
Like, I love, that's Ashley C is the name of the artist.
There you go.
The poet. They're actually I think originally from Bandera, Texas. But they go back and forth between Bandera and Oaxaca.
I see.
I think right now they just took a train. They're past West Texas. I think they're going towards Phoenix or something. They've been doing a lot of cool things. Cool poet. Like, I've always wanted to write. I've always wanted to do poetry. But again, that's another thing where I feel like, it's almost inaccessible to me. Like, I don't know if I can find my voice in this, or like determine what's good or bad. Like, I have trepidations or like just hesitations about it. But she opened my eyes again, like made it a little bit accessible, literally through that workshop where she put a pile of trash in the middle and asked you to like construct something out of the trash, and then maybe write about it, identify parts, and maybe redact or like do, it's just something with it, reflect on it, and try to find meaning in it. And found out through my own experience that like even though you don't like, I don't know, I was putting these things together and I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, or right. I still had some hesitations, right? But then after like reflecting, I'm finding like pieces of me like coming out through the words in relationship to this random thing that I thought was just a nothing choice, right? Like cutting a window and putting something behind it, and it was just like, just random choices that I was thoughtless, I thought, but no, there's a reason. I don't know, like I don't know. I felt like subliminally things were emerging just through action, and being able to reflect on it kind of brought those out and maybe gave it a little bit new meaning, but it's still kind of, but that's the process of making art too.
You're right. So exactly right.
That's where it's like, it really opened my eyes to poetry and writing in general, but also like just writing about my own practice or thinking about my own art. And that's like literally through that workshop has been informing a lot of things I've been thinking about for the show that I mentioned earlier at the Weslaco campus of SEC, of making something, reflect, like kind of taking combinations of words that seem, or a combination of materials or things that I don't know. I know there's a connection, but it's more implicit, than reflecting and making kind of a poem out of each work is kind of like where I'm at right now, to really like wrap my head around it, or like approach my feeling towards it. I don't know, but I'm still working through it. Obviously, I'm like trying to speak through it, but it's, Ashley and her practice is so cool, and I'm glad like that happened at Buho. I hope that we can collaborate more, but we haven't had like someone that was, I think she considers herself a writer first and then artist second.
Okay.
And so that was like a new experience to have like a writing person first, or a poet first, artist second kind of thing. But it all is, woven together. And so maybe there isn't really a hierarchy in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just really cool.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm talking about when I say it's an exchange of ideas. Because if she wouldn't have come from Bandera, then you probably wouldn't have had this new perspective on. No, so what you're doing is a beautiful service to Brownsville. Jesus, who do you credit most to make you the person you are today?
My mom. I'm going to copy Basilio. My mom. Well, I grew up with my mom, again, she had me very young. So it felt like we grew up together. I feel like her history is my history. I was a witness to all the things and the struggles that she went through. And she did it alone. I mean, she didn't have someone to lean on with her dad, her family, really. I mean, they were there. Oh man, I won't go there, but she was mostly alone, and she had to learn to fend for herself and build a shell and a exterior to be protective and not let people walk over herself. And so I saw the stress, I saw all those moments, and still, despite everything, was like the best mom and did everything for us. It was so I don't know, so caring, and gave us everything. I don't know how to I don't know. She was my best friend, is my best friend, and I think that's informed a lot of the way that I want to care for other people and other people's ideas, and again, I'm mother at the flower shop because of my mom. I want to give, and I want to support, and the way that my mom gave to me, because it was endless. It was like there was no end, and there is no end to her warmth and love for us, and
That's amazing. What would you say is the best tidbit of advice that you've learned that you'd like to impart on the people of Brownsville?
Tidbit of advice? I think everyone should make art.
Everyone should make art?
I think everyone should make art. I think art teaches you to care, to look with intention, and if you care about the things around you, making art leads you to understanding the weight of everything that's around you. Or there's somebody put time and effort into everything, and there's a history involved with it. And so if you care about yourself and your own personal thing through your own art, then of course you're going to see something else and notice how that's happening for other people or happening to the city. And so if you care about yourself, you care about the city, we're intrinsically tied to place. And so the way to value the place that we live in and to value ourselves is through making things, being creative, and opening up that dialogue. And I feel like I've worded that better in the past, but I think just the sentiment of everyone needs to make art, because I think it enriches your life.
Yes.
It makes it more fulfilling. I think everyone should reflect on their experience, should reflect on the things they care about, and make art.
Nice. Are there any exciting plans for the future of the residency program?
Well, I mean, we're gonna keep going. I mean, that's the exciting bit, because again, like, it's hard. It's hard to keep it afloat sometimes. So as I'm trying to juggle different things, as Ceci is, trying to get in grad school, do things, like having to keep this going, or wanting to keep this going because it's a personal mission gets difficult as the third year comes around. So I think the exciting thing is that we're going to keep going. We decide, it's always a conscious effort every day. Like, we got to keep going. This has got to keep happening because we need this. Brownsville needs this more than ever now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So we need art spaces. We need art here. We need this. So we're going to keep going until we can't anymore.
Wonderful. Now, final question. The stage is yours.
Oh, God.
You actually got a little preview of it.
Yeah. Wait, no. I have the same answer to this. Make art. That's it.
So imagine there's a giant stadium, Jesus, of 200,000 person capacity. Each seat is filled with every person living within the city limits of Brownsville, Texas. You walk up to the 50-yard line with a microphone, and you have 1 or 2 minutes to say something to the entire population of Brownsville, Texas. What would that message be?
Fuck guys. No. It's such a, I don't know if I'd ever be in that position. I'm too anxious for it.
Yeah.
I think, again, but I would say the same thing as that last question. That's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone should make art. I feel like everyone should care about each other. I think sometimes that means meeting in the middle, and it's always a conversation. It's not always going to meet in the middle. Things aren't black and white. We're all colored by emotions, but as long as, man, I don't know. It's hard because we're not on the same page. I think patience, having patience with each other, feels like something that we need. Yeah. But, sometimes patience wears thin. And I mean, sometimes we do need the louder voices and to step up and advocate for everyone. So I'm proud of those who are sticking up for everyone and for the city, and I hope that we can all care at that same level too. So yeah, I don't know.
Wonderful. The crowd roars.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for what you do to the creative community here in Brownsville. It is certainly appreciated. It is a very practical and enriching way for not just for the people from other places to learn from us, but for us to learn as much from them. From the little that I Ashley, what's her name?
Ash,
Ash, yes. From the little that I was paying attention to Ash, it opened my eyes.
Yeah.
And I actually wished to have participated and I would have wanted to have had a seat there. And that's just one of the residents. Jesus Trevino, thank you so much for joining us today on Brownsville Matters.
Thank you, Gilbert.
And that's a wrap.
This is Michael Quantz with the Brownsville Society for the Performing Arts, here to tell you about our podcast, Brownsville Matters. Everyone in Brownsville has a story to tell, and these are the stories. We broadcast these stories every Friday at 5 p.m. and every Sunday at 3 p.m. on KXIQ 105.1 FM on your radio dial. You can also catch these stories rebroadcast on our YouTube channel for Brownsville Society for the Performing Arts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and smash the notifications if you want more information about these stories that you watch and listen to.